Tonight's a Boba Fett spin-off series. Thor gets new powers, and our first on-set Spider-Man 3 pick on Comic Book Canon. I'm pumped, y'all. I am pumped. It's Friday. We're here to talk comic books and everything that relates to comic books on a Friday night with our friends, our good friends here, just hanging out and talking about not having a care in the world. Forget about politics, forget about sports, forget about everything else. And let's talk about this favorite hobby that we all know and love. And a person that I know and love, my partner, my co-host, Chris. How are you?
What is going on, Jeff? What's going on, everyone? I want to just take this time to give a big shout out to all of our subscribers, and to you, Jeff, for putting all the hard work that you've been doing into this channel for the past 4 or 5 months. But we hit the 250 mark this week. So I just want to, say thank you to each and every one of you that come out and support us every week. And yeah, I'm so grateful for every single one of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Chris, it's not just me, it's you as well. We are co-hosts on the show. We put this together. It's our voice. We love hanging out with you guys. We love talking comic books with you guys. And Chris is so close to 3,000 subs on his channel. Guys, I forgot to put the link in the description below, but if it's on the rewind or you guys want to come back afterwards, I will absolutely have that link in there on how to enter the contest. There's amazing prizes will be listed below as well. It will be worth your while. It's so simple to do it too. We'll get you the instructions. But anyways, we have a show to do. We got some news to talk about, Chris, don't we? Crazy news.
Yeah.
But before we do, we got a lot. We got a lot going on today. So let's just talk about that real quick. As we know, we get into the news. We always start the show with the news. We're doing a new segment called Tales from a Comic Book Shop. We'll explain that once we get there. Then we have Tom Tormey, as we do every week. Cosmic Minute. Does Disney own Batman 66? The answer will surprise you. CovrPrice's top 10 hottest comic books of the week, as we do every week. And our Q&A, our round table, we're just chopping it up, shooting the shit, and talking about stuff. Super excited to get things going, Chris. We're going to start off with you to talk about a nice nugget of news here.
Star Wars news. All right, guys. Spoiler. Who do we see at the end of episode 1, season 2 of The Mandalorian? None other than Boba Fett. This sparked so much immediate reaction online. And then this week, we get an announcement from Deadline reporting that there might be a Boba Fett spinoff miniseries. What? Right? This is just nutty to me. This is coming to Disney Plus supposedly, and not only that, it's alleged to start filming next week. Crazy thing about this is that the season 3 of The Mandalorian isn't set to start filming until kind of the end of this month, early December. So if there really is truth to this miniseries happening, and the simple fact that it's going to start filming next week, what does that mean? Does that mean that we might see this in between season 2 of The Mandalorian and season 3? Could it tie specifically in? But man, a Boba Fett miniseries?
Yeah. Who doesn't want? Who is a Star Wars fan? Who loves Star Wars and is gonna be like, you know what? Nah, I'm good. Yeah. I want to know more about about Boba Fett, the most badass bounty hunter until Return of the Jedi. But he's back though. Who knows? And by the way, Chris and I have not seen the second episode of The Mandalorian yet, so please no spoilers. Please try and keep it to yourself. But we will. I'm going to watch it after the show tonight. But I'm super excited about this news. Chris, every time we talk about Star Wars and the stuff that they're going to be producing for Disney Plus or potential films down the road, we feel like that there's so much to explore. You can't go wrong. Yeah. There's so many avenues to go.
Yep. And, on top of this, we had a solo director, Ron Howard, come out talking about the possibilities of seeing either a solo tour, some spinoffs with the solo characters, which I think is amazing at this point. And, you and I both have been vocal about how much we enjoyed Solo. And when you look at what's going on right now with Favreau, Endgame, running things with Star Wars. I think it's allowing people to get off of the the bad blood of the whole Last Jedi thing, which really soured the success of the Solo film, in my personal opinion. And now I think people they're watching Mandalorian, they're getting excited for where things are going, and you start bringing up Solo, and people are saying, "Well, you know what? It wasn't that bad," or whatever the case may be. And yeah, there's a lot there, like you were just saying, Jeff, that can be done. Now, Ron Howard did say that there's nothing official, there's no type of announcement or nothing in the works, but he did make a comment that kind of left the door open. And I quote Ron Howard when he by stating, quote, "No rumblings though," he says, and this is not a spoiler or anything, but I think there is interest in those characters. I think there's interest in the gangster world somewhere down the line, but I can assure you there is nothing being developed right now for a Disney movie, or excuse me, for a movie or for Disney Plus. But one great thing is there has been a lot of affection, keyword affection, shown for Solo. And so, of course, that keeps boding well for them to eventually turn it around. So, hey, like you said, down the line, whether that's, you go full production for a Solo 2 film, or you bring these characters onto Disney Plus in some form or fashion, I think it's absolutely doable. And look, Ron Howard is one of those directors that you say his name and you know that his work is solid. I definitely think there can be life, and hopefully will be life, for Solo and his band of characters somewhere in the future. I
mean, your low-hanging fruit right there is Lando. I would love to see a Lando spinoff. I would love to see the story continue on with Solo. And also, the other faction that came a part of that with working with Darth Maul. I'm super excited, and by the way, Tom Tormey said it well. They can make a Star Wars show about the people who clean the garbage, and I'd watch it. I'm with you, man. I would absolutely watch that. And again, so much to explore within the Star Wars universe, and we're just getting started because of Disney Plus, and that is extremely exciting. By the way, Serge Henderson here. Hey guys, how you doing? We are doing well. We're really grateful that you're following us. Sub us if you haven't already. We're here every Friday. Also, Joe Gee, Solo was pretty great. We both agree with that as well. Joe Gee has to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to work, but we're happy that you're here right now spending time with us. So again, thank you. Anyways, so hopefully we'll have some more Star Wars to discuss. I will be watching Mandalorian the second episode of the second season after the show wraps. Chris, I'm not sure when you're going to fit in your schedule, but I guarantee you'll be before.
Yep. As soon as we're done here, that's what I'm doing.
All right. But moving on to the MCU. So, guys, I got some somber news. Well, it's not quite news, but it's a somber revelation that Eternals would have came out today.
Yeah.
The Eternals movie would have came out today, November 6, 2020. It is now pushed to November 5th, 2021. And that is unfortunate. I mean, I guess we're all used to this by now, but it's just like, God, let's just get through this COVID. Wear your masks, people. Let's just get through this COVID so production can start and they can start getting released and stuff. We can go out and watch movies together. It's a communal thing. But we got a little taste of some Eternals news this week. It's quite interesting. We had some Eternals promo art that kind of ventured online. As we all know, we have Icarus, Cersei, and the Black Knight coming to the big screen. The Black Knight, major ties to the Avengers, so it's going to be interesting how they work him in. But we finally got a look at what some of these characters are going to be looking like based off of a tweet from a Twitter user at QLXKE_. Not sure what that stands for, but thank you for sharing this art with us. As you can see here in this Icarus, it is. I don't know what this is. If it's promo art or if it's if they're developing the costumes here, but it looks pretty cool. You could see Icarus has the 3 spheres on the top on his chest, and that kind of matches what he has going on in the comic books. Looks pretty cool to me. It doesn't get me like super excited. Not as excited as a trailer would. Come on, Marvel, get that out there. But it was also revealed. I don't know what this is. It's like a canvas or something with everybody, all the Eternals on there. So check out. Let me see what his name is again. Check out at QLXKE_. We'll put the Twitter link below in the description. Didn't do that either today, but we'll get that. But it looks I mean, it looks decent, Chris, right? I mean, it's not something that's going to get us like completely excited and rev, because these are just kind of, this is not what they're, you know, what the Marvel Studios was, you know, that they want to release as our first look, even though they did that at Comic-Con. But it's something. It's quenching some sort of a thirst for us, I guess. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm with you. You know, very. You feel the comic books come alive in it to a certain extent, and what I like to, or what I like to happen, which I'm kind of feeling, but you know, it's such a small taste. You know, when it comes to costumes and everything, um, dealing with characters like this, I think costumes matter. As well as obviously the performance on screen. And I'm just really looking at this, questioning. The thing that pops up into my mind is that these characters have to be, they have to look, you have to believe what you're seeing. You have to feel what you're seeing. And in the costume, the acting, all of it has to mesh within how Marvel Studios creating the MCU has balanced the realism with the mysticism, with the cosmic element and all this. And I think just from looking at this, you can kind of pair it to where they've gone with what we've seen in the Guardians of the Galaxy, and even Captain Marvel, like Icarus, kind of, you know, with how the collar comes up, kind of reminds me of like a Captain Marvel suit. So, you know, not that we need to explain all the details of who's creating these costumes, but that's just the first thing. Me, as somebody thirsting for what this movie's going to be like, the thing that's coming into my head is it going to be believable? And I want that realism aspect, but at the same time to venture into this bigger cosmic world, because you got to think about it. One thing that I want to where something like this isn't, say, corny, right? I want them to be able to take that cosmic world that was so relevant in the comics, but look at these characters and understand, how do they come from being these ancient beings to now living in a modern world? Or are they, you know, or are they, or is this existing thousands of years ago? So would Icarus have a costume like that if it was like thousands of years ago, right? So these are the things that we can sit here and talk about, because we haven't even seen a trailer.
We don't know how this is going to translate on film, you know, and Isaac brings up a good point. Now, the costumes don't have to be comic accurate. So now the Iron Man costume in the films was not comic book accurate, and we all love the costumes. So either way, it's going to look really good. Yeah, we're trusting what we've seen in the past from the MCU to deliver. How do these characters translate on the big screen is going to be seen. Again, they're not like a major property that Marvel has. They probably will become that. See what happens to Guardians, but you know, I'm excited. You know, Joe Geep, he says it perfectly. I can't wait for MCU to introduce even more cosmic characters. They've already introduced cosmic characters quite a bit, but Galactus, Celestials, Living Tribunal, etc. I mean, this is super exciting. But again, let's see how it all translates. And by the way, congratulations that you accumulated all of your Eternals and Celestial keys. You are pumped, and we are pumped for you, Mr. Joe Gee. All right. But, you know, again, time will tell. Let's get a trailer, though, Marvel. Come on. You know it's ready. This movie's supposed to come out today. Anyways, moving on, Chris.
At least a teaser trailer. I mean, come on. Something with some music in the background and then the logo popping up. I mean, something
like that. All right. But speaking of teases, do we have a Captain America tease, Chris? Tell us.
Ah, man. So, again, you talk about disappointments. We should have already been done with the first season of Falcon and Winter Soldier. We don't know what's going on with that. I did say, though, that I think the hold up on that wasn't even that final little filming they did, was because something's going on there where we need to watch Black Widow first. But what does that mean? I don't know. But what does this mean when we're seeing a toy try to maybe give away some hints of what's going to be happening in season 1? Could be. There was a leak, guys, from a Reddit user, Potablog. So shout out to Potablog for releasing this, what seems to be a Sam Wilson mock-up wearing a suit that mimics both Sam's Captain America suit from the from the comic books, and has a bit of the elements of the Steve Rogers Winter Soldier suit, right? from the film Winter Soldier. So this to me, look, if this is legit, this to me says that Sam Wilson is taking the mantle of Captain America. Look, he's already gotten the shield, right? He's been passed down the mantle, the proverbial mantle from Captain America, Steve Rogers himself. And we know what Sam Wilson has done as Falcon over, however many films wearing his Falcon suit. This is not that. This, to me, having that star and that emblem, boom, right there on his chest says, this is Sam Wilson, this is Sam Wilson, Captain America, period. So I would love for that to happen. I know we have U.S. agent coming in with the government's trying to say, hey, we're going to replace Captain America. But this speaks to the heart of Captain America. And will Sam Wilson be carrying that, the soul of the Captain America title? Maybe so.
I mean, he's worthy. He's definitely worthy, but I think we're making too big a deal out of this. I think the internet is making too big a deal out of this. It looks exactly like this comic book costume here. You know what I mean? Like, Falcon Cap is great. I hope we see him in in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I hope he becomes the new Captain America officially. I don't think this toy reflects that. I think it's a coincidence. I think it's a kid's toy that they're going to be, again, I don't buy into. I'm not going to buy into it, Chris. I'm not. I'm not mad about it either. By the way, I sound like I'm mad, but I'm not.
Well, and you know what? Another thing, I don't know if you guys, I'm familiar with it because my kid loves them, but there's a toy made by Play School called Mix and Mashers. Okay, and this really resembles a Mix and Masher. They got the oversized, like legs and arms with the muscles, and you can take apart. They have Marvel. They have Star Wars, they have Transformers, where you could take the head and the arms off, put on a different body. So who knows? This Reddit user could have took a mock-up of like Captain America and put some. We don't know. We don't know.
I mean, that definitely looks like a prototype of some sort because his face isn't painted. Nothing's painted. So we shall see. I do hope that he does become officially Captain America. Isaac Maynard at this point. It's pretty much up in the air. We really don't know who's going to be the next Captain America. It's true. All we know is that Sam has the shield based off what we saw in Endgame. We don't know. U.S. agent's going to be coming. He's got history as being Captain America. That's kind of cool and exciting. And pick up the Captain America and the 300 runs, the 330s. It tells a lot of that story. It's pretty awesome. Anyways, so that's our, Captain America tease. I'm not going to buy into it. I don't think you all should either, but it's interesting nonetheless. You know what else is interesting nonetheless is that they are about to start filming Thor: Love and Thunder. You know how we know that? Because Christian Bale and Natalie Portman are in Australia as we speak right now. Chris about to start shooting. Chris Hemsworth doesn't start shooting Love and Thunder until January, but they're getting ready. And Natalie Portman is out there talking about her character, Jane Foster, playing a new version, a female version of Thor. We've all seen her in the past in the comic books. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but it's kind of exciting because she's teasing the fact that this new Thor may have different powers. Now, we didn't see that in the comic book per se, but she explained on this talk show that she's her own hero rather than just a lady version of Thor, right? She does have powers, but it's not exactly the same as the original version of Thor. It's her own version of it, and she's called the Mighty Thor. Portman also explained that not only is it important for girls to have superheroes of their own to look up to, but it's great for boys to look up and see women in these roles too. And I mean, I have a daughter. I am all about that. I want to surround her with all the possibilities because anything is possible in her life. I want to surround her with powerful women. I want to surround her with these people so she knows she can be whatever she wants, right? And I think this is a great character to kind of display that fact of this female version of Thor. And I'm excited to see this female version of Thor on the big screen. My daughter will probably be 5 or 6 when this film comes out, and hopefully she'll be able to see it and be into the Jane Foster Thor.
Yeah, and look, I really hope that this, because we know that this character, especially when announced for film, got so much negative pushback. A lot of criticism, some, maybe just a bias. We won't get too much into that, but I think this could even alleviate some of that for those, you know, naysayers, because you're not just, you know, Thor's a man, right? That's the argument. But Thor's a man. Well, here, you know, this explains that this is it her own. She is her own character, right? You know, adding a different element to her powers and so forth creates an even fresher take of this is just another individual doing their own thing. So I really hope it can, you know, not that I think that type of rhetoric or hate is even, you know, anything more than a peep or a blip in the bigger scheme of things. Not like it's going to matter or it's going to hurt this movie or this film from doing well or earning a lot of money. I don't. But hey, you know, at least this should quench that argument, though, for the most part, at least, to say, look, they're getting creative and outside of the box of just duplicating one character and, you know, putting it on someone else. But, you know, with that being said, the argument of Thor being a mantle really is the case in the first place, though. It's not owned by, you know, Chris Hemsworth's Odin's son.
Yeah, I mean, there were in the comic book there were many different Thors, right? You had Thunderstrike, right? The guy that became Thunderstrike, Eric Masterson, I think his name was. Then you had come on, he's got the big beak. He's got the
Beta Ray.
Beta Ray became it. A frog. You had
yep.
Throg. So, you know, why wouldn't there be a female version of Thor? And speaking of, though, if you guys need to jump on this book right now because there's a lull. They haven't started production. We haven't seen our first look at Natalie Portman as the new Thor, but this is Thor, the 2014 version, 2014 series of Thor, number one. Thor number one from 2014. It's going for $43 raw based off of CovrPrice's data, and also $145 at a 9.8, which I find undervalued. I think I would have expected it to be a lot more money than that, but I would jump on this book now before we start seeing those first looks kind of leak.
Yeah, I agree. We're in that. Look, you know, you missed out when you could have got it for like $10 or cheaper, right? You know, you can't do anything about that. And I agree. And that's what COVID has been doing with some of these speculation books when it comes to the movies. It's stalled. When things get stalled, people start, you know, it's like, oh, you know, you start taking your attention elsewhere. Oh, you're kind of in this middle ground where, look, you know, you're going to be paying a bit of a premium, but it's still an affordable book that I think has a chance to grow. It is a book that not that it has any Marvel Studios movies flopped, you know, but we understand like the relationship with Natalie Portman and how that kind of, you know, people thought that the first couple of Thor films were some of the weakest films in the MCU. Well, if people come out of this film feeling like that, I think it could have a bit of a negative effect on this book, and it could drop the price down a little bit. But even if it does, I don't see it ever dropping down, probably past the $20 book, even at that point. But I'm telling you, there's more. I mean, weigh the possibility of this movie being a success. If it's even decently successful, that book is going to shoot up.
Yeah, I mean, Taika Waititi did an excellent job with Ragnarok. I don't see why he wouldn't do just as good a job here. It's going to be a unique spin and add to the Thor mythos in the MCU. I'm psyched. But Chris, we're really psyched about this next thing we're both going to talk about, right?
Hell
because we got our first look at the we got our first pick from the Spider-Man 3 set, and it came from Tom Holland himself. Granted, it's nothing exciting, nothing we haven't seen before. He's in his costume here. It's on his Instagram. Tom Holland 2013 here is his handle. But, you know, what you see him say is wear a mask. I'm wearing one too. Y'all should be wearing a mask too. Let's end this COVID thing. Come on, people, be reasonable. But that's pretty exciting. But Chris, there's also something else that we noticed in this picture, right? And not that we noticed it, because somebody on Twitter noticed it.
Yeah, I didn't.
I didn't notice it at all until I saw this tweet.
I was looking at Spider-Man.
What's that?
I was just looking at Spider-Man.
Yeah, me too. That's all I was concentrating on. See if there's anything new. But Matt, Twitter user or Twitter handle MattV525 noticed, whose hand is this in that Spidey picture? Definitely looks like part of a costume and not just regular clothing. And I have to agree, Chris, something's there. Let's all speculate who that is. I don't know who that could be.
Oh my gosh!
It looks like it's somebody part of, you know, an actor part of the set, I would say.
I mean, you know, I've not that I've obsessed over Cumberbatch's hands, but I'm seeing a little
You know what?
Benedict Cumberbatch hand there, maybe possibly some Doctor Strange.
Could
Can we
be.
bring the main picture back up? Not
Okay.
the zoomed in, but the main one.
Yeah.
Now there's something else black behind that individual as well, right?
You're right. It could. My first inclination is that I think that's a cape or something, but I could be wrong. Let's bring up the closer image.
Yeah. Now let's. Yeah. Man.
I don't know.
Yeah, it looks more like maybe a prop actually, because that curve is too precise to be like a cloth material.
Serge Henderson's making a bold prediction here, guys. That looks like Spider-Woman. I don't know. I'd be psyched. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think that's a woman's hand. I don't. I'm gonna make a stance and say that's a bit of a manly hand. They might lotion up, and and take care of the skin there. But I'm gonna say it's a manly hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It could be you got some kind of black something behind it. It could just be somebody maybe holding up sliding or something, and he's just wearing black. To kind of just blend in and not get into the, but I don't know.
It's not your typical green screen they're shooting on here. It's
that's true.
It's more of a blue screen. So it's definitely, they're doing this. They're going to be doing something in post with this. So this person is right behind Spider-Man. So I don't know. Could be anything. I'm psyched though. But this is how much we're quenching for this guy. Chris and I are literally like this in our computers trying to see what.
Well, so, what I'm wondering too. It's the same suit that we saw him in last.
Yeah.
Same exact suit. It looks. Does that look like a sidewalk that they're on?
I don't know. That's something. Honestly, we're not going to be able to see it closely here, but.
Yep. I'm wondering if this is maybe taking place almost right after he gets called out, and maybe this is another reason why I think it might be Doctor Strange. Maybe his first instinct, because he might be close to where Doctor Strange is, and he's freaking out, and he doesn't know where to go to. There's no Iron Man to turn to. There's no Captain America.
Yeah,
Doctor Strange. Hey, I know where he lives. I'm gonna go. Boom, and he goes there, and there he is. I don't know. And maybe some villain is coming, and he's like, oh no, Doctor Strange, get back. Here comes Kraven the Hunter, right? And then Doctor Strange says, Peter Parker, I gotta help you out. Here, I'm gonna wield you into a multiverse. Get out of here. Oh shit, there's Venom.
Yeah. Oh man. There's so many different directions they can go, especially with the Multiverse of Madness coming out, Doctor Strange sequel. I don't know. Isaac, I'm with you, man. I am so excited for Spider-Man 3. Either way, it's going to be really exciting. Who cares what that character is? I'm just really excited. We feel the same way. Our favorite character, Chris, Spider-Man. So pumped that they're in production for Spider-Man 3, and you all should be too. So that is our news this week. Kind of a lullish kind of week compared to the previous weeks that we've had, but we've had some stuff to talk about. We're really excited about the things that will be coming up, potential BOBA FETT spinoff series, the Eternals promo art. I mean, the tease that maybe Falcon will become Captain America. We all know that. Jane Foster, Love and Thunder news, and then that Spider-Man pick. So anyways, I hope next week tops this week in news, though. I'm going to say I'm not disappointed. I just hope it does. Yep. So with that being said, we are moving on to a brand new segment. We're all comic book fans here. You guys are tuning in. We're talking about comic books, right? So we've all been to comic book shops, right? We all have stories about comic book shops. So we're starting a new segment this week, and it's going to be called Tales from a Comic Book Shop. Simple, right? It could be the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever. Everybody has stories. It could be the best experience you ever had, your favorite comic book shop, or the weirdest. So I'm going to start this week because I had a really weird experience this past Wednesday on New Comic Book Day. I was in an area I hadn't been in, before, and I was like, where's the closest comic book shop? Oh, here it is. And I'm not going to name names because it was weird and actually not great, to be honest with you. So I find the comic book shop, and I drive to the store, and here we are. I find out it's not only is it a comic book shop, but it's a computer repair shop. It's also a workstation where you can go there and pay for internet, so you can work there. It's also a place where they play card games like or dice games and Dungeons and Dragons. So I walk in, there's cats all over the place. And I just want to find the new comic book shelf, right? Because it's new comic book day. That's all I want to do is walk in there and find new comic books. And I walk past, and then I see these guys over here. They're broadcasting their Dungeons and Dragons game. Okay, cool. Not a big deal. But then I realized I walked too far because that's where I walked the part where the computer they're fixing the computers. I walked back, and I'm like, oh, this is why I passed it, because it was a tiny little shelf of new comic books, which really weren't new comic books. They came out like a few weeks ago. And as you can see, there's really not any titles that any of us would probably be interested in. So, you know, it was really kind of underwhelmed. But they did have back issues. So I walk around and try and find the back issues, and I kept passing by the back issues because, you know, you want to see what, Chris? What do you normally see back issues in?
Something that looks a little bit like this.
Long boxes. They didn't have long boxes there. They had a bookshelves. They had multiple bookshelves there, guys. And they're all in there like that, laying on top of each other at an angle, not bagged, not boarded. It was a travesty, but I was like, I'm here. I got time to kill. I'm going to check this out. Chris, I texted you, and I said, this is the weirdest place I've ever been to. Am I right?
Yeah. I was. When I saw that, I'm like, blasphemy.
I mean, look at how they take care of their back issues. I should have taken more pictures. I'm sorry. This is our first time we're doing this segment. I guarantee you next time we will. But I did spend a little over an hour going through 4 shelves. And they're in alphabetical order. You may be able to see the plastic separators that divide, and they each have a letter on there. And it was just kind of disappointing because there's a lot of terrible, like they're in terrible condition. But anyways, I'm here to share with you guys. I did spend $20, and this is what I got. Oh,
let me ask. So all those books that are sitting there, not bagged, not boarded, getting spine stress and ever sitting on a dingy, dirty shelf. So they were like dollar books, right? Or 50-cent books, right?
No, CovrPrice.
CovrPrice. Unbelievable.
So this is a key book from Star Wars, the Kanan series right here. It's number 12. Star Wars Kanan number 12. I mean, it's not bad. It's not in great condition though, as you can see. It's really kind of worn and dinged right there. But I figured I'd pick it up. A nice press would probably put it in decent condition here. Who knows? Star Wars books can get hot like that. So that's Kanan number 12 right there. Now, speaking of the Mighty Thor, this was the second series with Jane Foster. This is the issue where she actually dies. This was the best book of the bunch. It's in great condition right here. I was really happy to get this book. Okay, so the Mighty Thor number 12. Another book I was happy to get is Black Science. You guys haven't read this, Rick Remender. It's an excellent, excellent series from Image. I didn't have this issue, and I was really happy to find this. However, with all those books laying on top of each other, rubbing on top of each other, you get this dinge here, and I'm not sure. It's kind of, there you go. You see this? It's not a white book right there. It's very dingy. So any books that are white, you're going to get that kind of that rub on there. I also got Justice League number 21. This is a hot issue here because of Shazam. This is the first appearance of the Marvel family in the New 52. People are really actually looking for this book. There's a little bit of something going on there. Little markings up there. No spine ticks or anything. It's in decent condition. But this is the best book I found. It's not in the best condition, but this is the best book I found. Amazing Spider-Man number 5. The second appearance of Cindy Moon, a.k.a. Silk. Okay? Remember what we were talking about white books? There's definitely some dinge on this book here.
Got to get some, a few things. You can get some Absterine on that. Give it some clean cotton ball.
Yeah, but there's some rub here, though, Chris. There's some rub here, that color loss that you're not going to get.
I see that. Yep.
Okay, so I go to the counter, dig my way across with the cats. The guy goes, "What do you got?" I'm like, "I got these books. How much are they?" I'm like, "You tell me." I don't know. I got them from your bookshelf. Oh, he charged me cover price for them. It was less than $20. I was like, why not? I was here. See if I can clean them up. So that is my tales from my comic book shop. Next time, I promise I'm going to have more visuals to go with.
Yeah.
But Chris, that was one of the weirdest experiences I had.
You
a comic
know,
book shop, computer repair shop,
computer repair,
a computer working air station, and role-playing games.
plus cats.
Plus cats. Plus plenty
I
of
love
cats.
cats. I got cats, by the way, but I mean,
Not in a comic book
I
shop.
don't let them in. I don't let them near my comics. That's for darn sure.
Not in a comic book shop. So, anyways,
I mean,
that's it.
Okay. The gaming stuff, I get. The fact that they're in their gaming, whatever. But live streaming it, that's something else. But a computer repair shop that sells comic books. That right there is just so odd. But I just get the whole feeling, the whole vibe. From what you're telling me, it's just
it was weird.
And I mean, look, and if you're gonna have comic books on a shelf like that, you better be charging like $1 or less.
Right. I mean, look at that, dude.
I mean,
look at that.
What are you doing?
And literally, there are times where it was so heavy because there's so many books that were leaning up. I'm doing what I can here. This is how you leave your product on a shelf. I'm rubbing up against some books and they're wrinkling up. There's nothing I can do about that. Right? But I'm going through to see if I can spend money in your store. You need to take better care of these. Like, it was ridiculous. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention that we're not talking. Most people have laptops these days, right? We're talking about people like are rolling in desktops right behind you, and you got about a 4-foot radius here or 4-foot area you're working with. It was. And on top of the fact they were broadcasting, there was a multicam little studio going on to broadcast the Dungeons and Dragons. It was stupid. It was stupid. I will never go back there again. Whatever. Anyways, Chris,
I gotta see this Google review that you leave.
I'm gonna totally leave it alone. But basically, we'll try and get into this. But we want to hear about your tales from a comic book shop, whether it be good, bad, the ugly. We really just send it our way. Leave a comment down below. Tell us in the comments here. We would love to hear about it and talk to you about it, and maybe we'll grow this segment out a little bit further. Chris, I know you have a tales from a comic book shop. We'll get into.
I have a lot of positive experiences. I have some horror experiences, and I've done a lot of traveling where I'll hit up comic book shops wherever I'm traveling, and I got a lot of cool tales. So yeah, I can't wait to talk about some of those. But yeah, we would love to hear what you guys have to say too. And hey, hit us up on Instagram and leave us a story with some pictures if you have some pictures as well.
Absolutely. Actually, Serge Henderson, hey, question about what kind of place was it? Was it like a gaming board game they had, like X-Wing games and stuff like that? No. They were playing on their computers. And they were broadcasting, and they were making moves. So it wasn't like that. It wasn't like card games or I really don't know what it was. I do know this. Here's another thing we can add to this shop too. They didn't have masks on, and I was more than 6 feet away from them. I had a mask on, but one of the guys had to leave. He's like, okay, so and so is leaving. We're gonna give a hug. This is a safe COVID hug. He had COVID months ago. He was serious. He had COVID months ago. I'm like, I've been sitting here. Are you kidding me? Get out of here. So anyways, that was a little bit that was really annoying. Isaac Maynard, one of the most interesting comic book shops I've been to was one in Texas. As soon as you came without the shop, he had a cabinet just filled with golden and age and silver age grail. See, those are the good shops right there, where they got the good stuff that you get into. So those are the ones that are like excellent, superb. So anyways, Chris, we're gonna get into your story probably next week, or actually probably the following week.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because we got some stuff going on next week. Anyways, but we're going to move on right now to a segment that we do each and every week. Chris, why don't you tee it up? What is it?
We got Cosmic Minute.
Cosmic Minute, a favorite here for everybody, all of our viewers, and ourselves.
With Disney, the Infinity Gauntlet here, I guess, of ownership.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we can let Tom let us know what it is.
Each and every week, we have Tom Tormey come and he produces a segment called the Cosmic Minute. He gives us this juicy nugget of comic book history, and it never disappoints. You can find him on Instagram at Cosmic Comic History. That's his handle right there. Every day, he releases a juicy nugget of comic book history. But then he kind of fleshes it out for us here, and we do a weekly segment called Cosmic Minute. This one today is very interesting because Does Disney own Batman 66? The answer may surprise you. Check it out.
Hello everyone, I'm Tom from Cosmic Comic History, and this is your Cosmic Minute. And today we're talking about how the light knight ended up in the white padded paws of Mickey Mouse. In the 1960s, National Periodic Publishing made a good deal of revenue licensing their products. Their characters appeared on everything from cereal boxes to underoos. It was during this time that National Periodic sold the distribution rights for Batman to ABC, who later sold the rights to 20th Century Fox Television. The network created one of my favorite Bat shows, starring Adam West as Batman. Despite National, now known as DC Entertainment, owning the rights to the characters, the series rights were owned by 3 different companies: Fox, Warner, and Greenway Productions, who in turn sold their share to Fox. In March of 2019, Disney bought 21st Century Fox for $17.3 billion. That means Disney now owns distribution rights to intellectual property such as The Simpsons, Avatar, Alien, Predator, and yes, even Batman 66. What they're planning on doing with it, if anything, remains to be seen. Maybe it'll air on Disney Plus or Hulu, which Disney owns 70% of. Maybe they'll sell it back to Warner Brothers. Time will tell. I'm still Tom from Cosmic Comic History, and that was your Cosmic Minute. Until next week, be well and stay safe.
So Disney, who owns Marvel, also owns Batman, the rights to Batman 66. That is fascinating. That is absolutely fascinating.
Sneaky little mouse.
I mean, seriously, that's just yet more content. But can you imagine going on Disney Plus and just seeing Batman 66 just sitting there? That just would be weird, right? Mixing it up with like Iron Man or or the Avengers, or it just is weird. But I mean, that's an asset that they have that's just sitting there, and it's a cult favorite. Right. It could be on a streaming. It could be on a streaming network, and it's not. So they have something there. Just either sell it back to WB or just get it up because people are going to watch that.
Yeah, it would be odd to just have that element of Batman or in any kind of DC property, but especially on Disney Plus. But hey, I like the idea of Hulu, or at least temporarily, at least momentarily, until maybe they make some kind of deal to send it back or sell it back or whatnot. But I honestly would not be opposed to necessarily, and people might hate me for this, Disney buying the rights of all DC's property from Warner Brothers and having Marvel, Star Wars, and DC on Disney Plus. But hey, no, look, we know that Disney's been doing great things, but I think right now with where Warner Brothers is going with the DCEU, let's keep it that way. But yeah, man, I used to record the show, the Batman 66 show, on VHS tapes. It would come on, I believe it was either Saturday or Sunday mornings at 6 a.m. It would be Batman 66 and Bruce Lee's Green Hornet. And I used to record both of those shows on VHS, and I used to watch them over and over again. And I know I still have some of those VHSs somewhere laying around.
Yeah, well, what are you going to have to play it on? Anyway, Tom Tormey.
I still have a VCR, actually.
Oh, wow. Good for you. Tom Tormey, I'd love to see it pop up on Hulu so younger generations can view it. I mean, yeah, it needs to be on streaming. It's not on streaming. It needs to be on streaming. Steve Bradley, I love Batman 66. Who doesn't? Granted, when I watched it, I was like super little, and I thought that's what Batman was. Now you see it now, and it's campy, and you want your Batman to be dark and all that. Tom Tormey said Green Hornet spun off from Batman. I believe Tom Tormey because he is the Cosmic Comic Historian. Go follow him on Instagram. The link is below. Cosmic Comic History. It's my favorite part of the day when I'm scrolling through Instagram at like 8 a.m. He posts around that time. Every day it's something new, and you will not be he never takes a day off either. He never takes a day off, and we're glad to have him as part of this show. He will be back next week for a new episode of Cosmic Minute, and I'm super excited. But you know what else I'm super excited about, Chris? It is the favorite part of the show. It's Kid Collector's favorite part of the show, and that is CovrPrice's top 10 hottest comics of the week. This is based off of CovrPrice's data. We do this each and every week, and the list is different each week. You know, we're a show that obviously we're live Friday night. You guys are watching us live right now or watching us on, you know, video on demand or whatever. Now, this list comes out on Monday, but we like to talk about it on Friday. And then Chris dissects it because he'll give you 3 of his most interesting issues on that list. They may not be the top 3, but he will give you his 3 most interesting issues on the list. So, Chris, we're going to get started right now. We're going to talk about the top 10 right here. What we have is we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. At number 10, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures number 1, the first appearance of Krang, Bebop, and Rocksteady in a comic book. Number 9 is Gotham Academy number 1. Number 8 is Spawn 311, McFarlane's Chadwick Boseman's tribute. It's the black and white variant. Number 7 is Michelangelo, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle number 1. Number 6 is Batgirl number 50, the Dodson B variant. It's the first Ryan Wilder. She will be appearing in as the new Batwoman in the CW series. We talked about that last week. Number 5 is Moon Knight number 1. This is getting a lot of love lately. Number 4 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin number 1, regular cover. Number 3 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin number 1, the 1 in 10 Kevin Eastman variant. Number 2 is The Strange Talent of Luther Strode number 1. That is an Image book that just got picked up. And then number 1 is Batgirl number 50, the regular cover. Chris, it's definitely an interesting week here. We don't see a spider book.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, but hey, give credit where credit's due. With all the hotness that's going on, I will say I never talk about a runner-up, but I want to briefly state if I had to pick a runner-up this week, it would be that Moon Knight number 1, Oscar Isaac announcement. I mean, we talked about that last week. What I didn't pick it because I'm going to make a guess that it's going to be here next week, and if it is, we'll talk about it then. But yeah, with that being said, let's get into my top 3 picks. Starting at number 3, and I had to pick this for nostalgic reasons, but also because it's blowing my mind what it's doing, and that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures number 1. This is the Archie Adventures. This is the 1 in 3 mini-series before the ongoing title. Now, guys, this book for me means so much. But before I go into that, let's talk about what this book is in and of itself. And it is the first appearance of Krang, Bebop, and Rocksteady in a comic book. Sales, guys, 206% increase in sales over the last 7 days. And get this, a 9.6 CGC. 9.6. I didn't even say 9.8. I said 9.6. $380. Wow. So, guys, here's a little nostalgia and why it means something to me. But, I mean, those numbers should blow your guys' mind, too. This is my first ever comic book, okay? This is the Random House soft cover collection of the 3 books, 1, 2, and 3, okay? This is the first comic my mom got me off the spinner rack at an Alpha Beta grocery store. It is well loved. And shortly after that, wow, my love for Ninja Turtles, my love for comic books. What did I have to get? But the Adventures single issues. Now, you guys can probably see, look at that. This guy is well loved. This ain't no 9.6. It's going to sell for $380. Well loved. It's got a color crease in here too, right around the top, but it can get a press. I'd probably put this book maybe even after a press at about maybe a 6.0. But to have this book and to see that this book is selling for $380 blows my mind. I've held on to these books for, 30 years, and there was never anything in my mind about having these books because they would be this valuable at some point. And I know now my next pick kind of correlates with that, but Jeff, you wanted to kind of just jump in here and share your thoughts before I dive into that.
No, I'm just loving I'm loving the love for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, it's, again, there's 3 books on the top 10 this week. 4 books, I'm sorry, 4 turtle books on the top 10 this week. And it, Serge, he said he thinks he had that book as well. I love it because, again, it all brings us back to, when we're younger and how new and fresh these characters were and how amazing. Granted, it's not the ones that we were introduced to are completely different to the one, because they were gritty and nasty and raw in the first comic books, but they exploded on the scene, kind of died down, and now it's good to see they're getting the love that they deserve. And there's a certain reason why, I think, for a book that came out this week, which we'll get to.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And that's my number 2 pick, guys. And I just came off reading this book, finally got it for my pre-order, and that's Last Ronin, number 1. So this is my number 2. And this correlates with my number 3 pick, because this book right here is just so hot right now, and people are just, it's revitalizing this franchise. I read it and I'm like, I cannot wait to read issue 2. I already pre-ordered 2 copies of issue 2. What this is doing is so refreshing right now. And for me, like, my love for comic books started with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. My love for art, I'm an artist, started with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was like 3-4 years old, and I was drawing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles every day on everything, right? So coming off of this book is hot right now, not just because of the speculative hype. Like, people want to read this story, and they're like, wow, what is going on in this book? It's really amazing. I think they're doing really well with the story so far after the first issue. Guys, this book right now, raw, is, you're probably not going to find it for, less than around 40 to 50 bucks right now. It sold 128 copies last week. That's intense, guys. Especially for, the fact that it's getting harder to find on the market right now, and people are willing to pay that higher dollar amount for those that are still willing to sell it. 206%, or excuse me, only a 69% increase in sales, but 128 copies. That speaks volumes. A 9.8 CGC is already going for $120. So, man, big shout out to what IDW is doing with The Last Ronin.
I got 2 comments here as to where that book is and why in the market. First, a lot of people are just hot on it because they don't know who The Last Ronin is. First, before it came out, is that a new turtle? But people are starting to realize it's one of the brothers, but they don't know who, because he has all the weapons, right? And the reason it's so hot is because, there were multiple mess ups in terms of the order. IDW did not deliver what they promised on the variants and things like that. So there's been a lot of that going on, which has got people feeling like they're scrambling. However, with all of that being said, they still produced over 100 some odd thousand books, right? Yeah. That's a big number, especially for an independent. And I think that price is going to come down. You can definitely find lower prices on eBay, lower than 40 bucks. I found one for $18. I'll admit, I flipped mine. I sold mine for 22 bucks.
Yeah. When did you buy it?
I regret selling it. I'm going to get another one.
When did you buy that?
When the day it came out.
Okay. Yeah. So that's already the demand and what's driving that price up. And to your point, I'm telling you guys, that price has been. I agree. It's gonna come down some, but I think the reason why that price is so high is because people want to read the book. It's not available for digital right now, and it's not that this isn't like, what was I mean, we talk about these books every week, and like the 1 in 25 Jimenez Batman 89 or 92 variant or whatever that. And it's, it shoots up to 200 and then it drops down to 8. Like, people are seriously spending $40 on this book because I think people want to read this book.
It's a good story. I mean, the premise is amazing too. That's why. And like, there's a mystery. Who is this turtle?
Absolutely.
Who is this turtle? That's cool. And it's reinvigorating the turtle. The whole turtle mania. And Isaac Miner says, "Hey guys, turtle power. We agree."
Yeah. And and there was a lot of delays as well too with this book. Months, and then I know that some of the some people's pre-orders were canceled because certain distributors or LCSs didn't get the amount that they were supposed to get. So there's a lot of people just trying to get their hands on this book, and it's a very unique situation. But I love it, man. I love that there is a lot of unique pull. Wanting for folks wanting this book specifically just to really read the story and to find out what's going on. So
I regret selling mine. I'm going to pick it up again, no doubt. I'm going to pick it up. I should have it by next week, I hope. I'm excited to read the story. All right, moving on. Your last book of the week, number 1.
All right, really cool because I had all of my picks here that I decided to pick for my top 3, and my number 1 is Batgirl, number 50. Boom, beautiful, Josh Middleton. Yep, there it is. There, guys, first appearance of Ryan Wilder, the new CW Batwoman. Now there was so much negative hate coming out as soon as this was announced. Like, who is this character? This isn't Batwoman. This isn't even somebody in the comic books. Well, guess what? She is in the comic books. I haven't read it yet. I don't know what's going on and how they're introducing her. But I think it's cool that they decided to tie this character into the books. This book is hot. Both covers, cover A and cover B, were both in the top 10. The original cover alone sold 169 copies. I think the B variant sold about maybe like 119 or somewhere around there. So, you're pushing 300 copies of this book if you take into consideration both covers. But 169 copies of this book, it was the number 1 of the top 10. 297% increase in sales, $40 for a high raw grade. Now, I have this book as my number 1 pick for a couple of reasons. For one, because again, 300% increase in sales, $40 for a high raw for a book that's just come out. And look, first, again, I usually say this when I talk about usually like the haters out there, they're really a minority because people are buying this book. Okay. But the thing I really want to point out is this book just came out and it's going for $40. All right. So what do people do when that happens? The book comes out and just days later, it's already going for $40. This is ruining, speculation is ruining the hobby. For us collectors that just want to collect to read the books, shouldn't have to pay $40 for a brand new book. The comic book industry is being killed. It's not going to exist because of all this stuff. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. I want to ask you guys, you know how much I paid for this book? Jeff, what do you think I paid for this book?
I'm gonna tell them what you paid for. You paid 30% below cover price. Am I right?
35.
35% below cover price.
35, which is like what, I think it's like $265, somewhere around there or something.
Which is a fraction of $40.
Right. Why? Why is that? Why? Because this came out in November. I pre-ordered. That's 3 months in advance. So what's that? August?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was the August preview sale for my comic shop that I sat down, said, oh, look, new previews are up. Got on my laptop. I spent, 10, 15 minutes going through all the new releases that were coming out in November. And I said, oh, that one looks cool. I want that one. That one looks cool. I want that one. Oh, look, a Josh Middleton cover. I want that one. Or maybe, oh, look, I read Batgirl, so I'm going to get it every month it comes out. Bing, put it in my cart. Guys, again, if you didn't get this book and you're mad that it costs $30 to $40 right now, and you are complaining that it's that price because you just want to read the book, you're a liar. You're a liar. Because if you just wanted to read the book, you probably would have bought it when you could for not just cover price, but undercover price. And or you could just go on to Comixology and download the digital copy for $3.99.
Yeah, I mean, you just do your work. By the way, this is a beautiful cover. I love this cover, man. I absolutely love this cover. And a lot of people wanted to jump on this because of the Ryan Wilder. That came out later. That info came out later. That was not in the solicitations. Am I right?
Right. Exactly. So when you were able to do the pre-order. So, and I jump on them real quick, but you could do a pre-order almost at least through like the first 3 weeks of that month. It's there. you know, and then I think like certain, like I know Midtown, you could still get them for 15% off, like a month before. So, you know, even if you miss it during that initial previews month, but during that whole initial previews month, yeah, there was no announcement yet, you know. So again, if you're buying it specifically for speculation reasons, then you are a speculator that is speculating on the book, and you don't just care about reading the story. And look, I will say, you know, I know I'm being serious, but I know I'm being funny at the same time. I'm busting your guys' balls and whatnot. But I know there are people that like don't like reading digital comics, and that's one thing too. You know, maybe you wanted to read it just because of the announcement of Ryan Wilder. And maybe you didn't know during the previews, but it was announced before it came out. And you could have still had time to buy it at like a 15% off from like a Midtown, or you still had time to call your comic book shop and say, hey, I want Batgirl on my pull list. You still had enough time to do that. If the only reason you wanted to buy it was because of Ryan Wilder. But I will say, look, guys, if you really want to buy it and you don't want to read the digital, and because you only read by holding the book in your hand, I can, you know, look for a second print. All right. You know, and another thing is that it's DC especially, they're putting out trade paperbacks. They're putting out the graphic novels right as soon as 6 issues were like, they're putting them out. When there's the 6 issues, you know, it's usually 6 to 8, you know, a story arc or whatever it is. As soon as those issues release, you'll see the trade volume up for and you can get the trade volume in a previews order for you know, up to 35% off as well. So, you know, hey, you just have to have a little patience, you know, maybe wait a couple months for either a second print or just to get it in the trade so you can actually have it in your hands and read.
To be fair, I think this information came out within like 2 weeks of the issue coming out, maybe even a week. So it's kind of hard. But for people to be pissed at that point, thinking speculators are ruining it, I can understand what they're saying. If people are walking into a comic book shop, grabbing 10 copies and walking out, that's bullshit. I'll agree with that. I don't think that's cool. You know, because if you want to be able to walk in the shop the day of, I don't agree with that, right? I think, especially with comic book shops, hey, I mean, like, because there's everyday life that you have, and you know, right? What are you going to do at that point?
No. I'm going to argue against everyday life. It took me it takes you minutes to go on and do an order. It takes you minutes to call your local comic book shop and tell them to put it put it on your pull list. What I will empathize with what you're saying is this. I don't necessarily agree with people that go into the comic book shop and buy 10, 15 copies off the shelf just because they want to go flip them and try to make money. But I'm not mad at them either, because guess what? If I could go into a comic book shop and there's 10 issues or 20 issues of this on the shelf, and I could pull all of them and walk up to the counter, and the LCS owner or the LCS workers will ring me up and allow me to buy them, it's a free market. It's a free country. I can do that. So that's up, and there's a duality here, because it's up to the comic book stores themselves to say, I know as a manager or an owner, or whoever is doing the buying or the marketing for the store, say, I'm going to put a 2 or 3 issue limit per customer. But you know what? But I'm not going to get mad at an LCS owner for not doing that. You want to know why? The LCS owner has to make money. So maybe you know that there's some speculation going on, and you might think this is going to be a hot book. You might think that there's going to be customers coming in and trying to grab them all off the shelf. But what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong and you set a 1 or 2 or 3 limit per customer, and you know you might get 1 or 2 customers that want to come in and buy more than that, but they buy your limit. But then the hype dies down, and you got all these issues sitting on your shelf. We're living through COVID. You know, we're struggling to keep doors open in the first place. So, you know, we can talk ethics, and I can empathize with that. You know, I'm one that'll go into a comic shop and buy multiple copies, but I also would never take all of them off the shelf.
That's
You
But here's the thing,
got to
let's
really
say-
balance it out, and you got to look at everyone, all the players involved, and understand why keeping this as a free market and as a anything goes type of market, and holding the buyers and the collectors accountable for their own actions and to being savvy to their collecting, hold them responsible to that, because you got to understand you don't have any privilege here. You don't, and you shouldn't, because at the end of the day, it's about people needing, not just wanting to, but needing to make money.
Agreed, 100%. But and I would say, a majority of people who complain about this could have done something about it. A majority. But if you're living somewhere in some remote location that doesn't have a local comic book shop, the news just broke that Ryan Wilder is going to be in this issue, right? You don't have a local comic book shop to go to call. Jumping on the computer, already those issues are like, 20 times what the price is. It can get. I can see why people would get frustrated with those types of scenarios. Now,
I understand getting frustrated too. I mean, that's but to point blank. And I guarantee you, and I don't know for a fact, but I am confident in making this statement and making this claim that as soon as Ryan Wilder was announced for this book, I guarantee you could still buy it on Midtown Comics for at least cover price, if not 15% off.
Okay, but there still may not be people who are by their computer at that time. They may have gotten they may have a buddy texting them or whatever that they're like, I can't get to my, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, again,
you have it on your phone. If your buddy's texting them,
here we go.
What do you have on your phone? Midtown Comics.
All right. Anyways, that's our top 10 hottest comic books of the week. This conversation probably to be continued, but we will be back again next week with a brand new list. That's what's so fun about these top 10 lists. Am I right, Chris?
Yeah, I like that you were, supporting those that are on the miss out train. So I give you credit there,
Okay.
and I'm sure
honestly it's going to be a different situation. But I agree with you. A majority of the people probably could have done something about this and gotten that issue.
I'll tell you what. You know what we should do and try to make a segment of in the near future.
What's that?
And I know it's hard because you really got to follow stuff, but let's try to. And I think this was a unique one just because of how the character and how it was handled. But let's try to follow these announcements and once they're released, hop onto as many different websites as we can.
Okay.
And see if they're available and what the going price is at that point.
That's fair.
That would be
That's
cool.
fair. We'll do that. We'll do that. But moving on. Now it's our Q&A portion here, and Isaac has a good question. This is going to go to both of us, even though he says me. Who do you pick, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or the Power Rangers? Chris and I agree on so much stuff here, guys. Agree on so much stuff, and I guarantee you this is not going to be any different. Chris, I'm going to give my answer, but I think I already know your answer. We've never talked about this, but I know what your answer is going to be. I'm going to say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles over Power Rangers any day of the week. I never was into the Power Rangers. And I know that could be blasphemy to some of you people. Could be blasphemy. But I love me some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah, this isn't even about my liking or disliking Power Rangers, but I just, when you look at the semantics of it all, I would pick the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You got to remember, they're ninjas and they're mutants. They're not human. They're not human, so they can withstand more. And the only way I would even give Power Rangers a shot is if they're in a Megazord, right? And even then, you got somebody like Donatello, who is basically a scientific whiz that can, I think, regardless, I think can undermine the technology of a Megazord. So yeah, I'm going with Turtles all day.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's no question. Kid Collector is late. Don't apologize, Kid Collector. We all got lives outside of this. We're just happy we're able to spend some time with you on a Friday night. But Kid Collector has an answer here, guys. Power Rangers. I'm kind of surprised that I don't know. I would figure you a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan as well, Kid Collector. Not holding it against you by any means, but you know, I don't know. I'm biased too. Again, I'm not a huge Power Rangers fan. Chris, did you watch the Power Rangers growing up?
I watched a little bit of it, but I couldn't get into it. You know, I was a big Voltron fan, and I was like, this will never be Voltron. That's, you know, I will say though, my youngest son. Go ahead.
That's a big deal. Like, I was a diehard Voltron fan too, and I thought that was like nowhere near as cool as Voltron.
Yep, absolutely. I will say though, my youngest son, huge Power Ranger fan, and I watched a lot more as an adult with him, and I got a different respect for it, and I actually liked, you know, they did a lot of those movies, I think, in the later 90s and early 2000s, where they did like the first Power Ranger movie, then they did like the Turbo and things like that. And I think it evolved well too. I think some of the newer shows that they did in the 2000s were a little more, you know, cool, like with the fight scenes and whatnot. So I got a little more love and appreciation from them, from my son. But yeah, just even now, they'll be second-rate Voltron.
I'm sorry, I laughed at what Raider Bear said. Power Rangers is a poor man's Voltron. Yep. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all the way. I'm there with you, man. Absolutely. Maynard Isaac Maynard is on the Turtle bus as well. Here's Kid Collector's explanation. Turtles are dope, but the Rangers are on a different level. I may be biased because I grew up with the Samurai Rangers, but no Turtles. I don't even know what the Samurai Rangers is.
Samurai Rangers, yeah, that's a good one. You know, I will say too, like, I think the way that they're being presented in the comics right now, and I haven't really read them, but my son's reading them, and he tells me a lot about it. And you know, they just did the Ninja Turtle Power Ranger mashup, and then they did the Justice League Power Rangers. So I think they got a lot going for them in the comic books right now too.
No, definitely. All right, Steve Bradley's got a good question. Hey guys, is there any Ultraman series or / movie spec? I love the show back in the 70s. That was a cool show. That really was. I remember I watched reruns. I remember seeing it. Just this dude that turned into this giant robot guy. I know there's a series, like a comic. Marvel's producing a comic book series on Ultraman.
Yep.
I don't know of any movie info or spec or anything like that. I would love to see what they would do with that character and property. I haven't read the comic book, the series, but I would love to see them do something like an updated version of this.
Yeah, with them bringing it back in the comics, it makes you think like, ooh, I wonder if they're making plans down the road to do something in a live action or something for it. But yeah.
No, definitely. Hey, Coffee Breath is here, everybody. Sup, y'all? What is up with you, sir? Thank you, or madam, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Isaac Maynard. I am a Green Lantern fan. I have not read Far Sector. I do want to check it out, especially because there's a character. I can't remember what issue, but there's a character that may be in the HBO Max series. I'm pretty excited about that. Raider Bear says there's an Ultraman series on Netflix. We'll have to look into that. We can probably do that right now because we have the internet. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Chris, you want to look that up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, you got that? All right. Anybody else have any questions? Anybody else have any? Honestly, here's another reminder to send us your weird stories from comic book shops. Tales from the comic book shop. I had that weird story again where I walked in. This was their new comic book shelf, which was really old comic books, like a month or two old. And then this is their back issue shelf. We would love to hear what your guys' stories are from from comic book shops, whether they be good, the bad, the ugly, and we'll do a segment, maybe once a month on Tales from the Comic Book Shop. Raider Bear may have beaten you, Chris.
Yep.
Raider Bear looked it up too.
Yeah. I don't know how we didn't know about I mean, that's crazy. I didn't even know about this.
Interesting. All right, maybe I'll check it out. You know what? Since it came out in 2019. That's very recent. Yeah. Guys, I've been checking out the new Transformers series, the anime series on Netflix. That's been pretty good. I know that's old, but I haven't had really time.
Are you watching the War for Cybertron?
Yeah.
Did you watch Prime, the Prime animated series?
No.
Ooh, I would. Yeah, I would watch that. I love that one. Came out 2009. That's a good one.
Okay, I should check that out. All right. Swaggle House. This is a good question for everybody out there. If each of you guys could see a new character in the MCU, who would you want to see most? Oh, that's a tough one. Oh man.
Does that count?
Oh, I know who I want.
Does it count the Fantastic Four or the mutants? Because we know they're coming.
All right, mutants doesn't count. Fantastic Four doesn't count because we've seen them on the big screen. Let's just say that we know that they're coming. But I got my choice. Chris, you want me to go?
Sure.
I want to see Nova, and I want to see the Richard Rider version of Nova. He's probably coming. They've been talking about this for a while, but no concrete evidence that he'll be there. But I absolutely want to see Nova. Oh, Steve Bradley, good one. He wants to see Adam Warlock. I think there's a very good chance he'll be there. Raider Bear wants to see Phantom X. That's another good one too, especially with the mutants coming. Coffee Breath, Doctor Doom in the MCU. They would do it right. He would be a nefarious villain instead of just this freaking awful version that they've done on the screen twice. Steve Bradley, you already had it. I'll give you another one. Living Tribunal, sure thing. Let's do that. You're all about the cosmic, aren't you?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Me too. I want to see Nova.
I would have said Adam Warlock is my choice too, but I'm not going to say Adam Warlock because we've been introduced to him basically, in the Cocoon. Mm-hmm. So man, this is really tough for me.
That's a good question.
Honestly, like the character, and I know this kind of goes against what we just said, but the character I want to see most in the MCU really is Psylocke. I thought Olivia Munn did a great job of her, but she was nothing. She was background noise. I want to see Psylocke in the MCU, and I want to see her done justice. So that would be my number one pick. But since that's kind of cheating outside of what we talked about, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go on the same level as it was Steve, right? That said, who said it? Like I want to see either. It's probably a tie between Living Tribunal or Eternity.
Eternity is another good one. Isaac Maynard, I want to see the Sentry in the MCU. And then Steve Bradley, he says, I'll compromise and take them all. I mean, yeah, man. We love us some Marvel, right? Obviously. So that's a very good question, Steve Bradley. Thank you so much for that. And thank you all. This has been a great, fun show. A great way to spend our Friday nights. We really appreciate you all for being here. We hope you all have subscribed. We hope you all have liked. Please like mash the like button if you haven't already, because we do this each and every week, and we want to just have a bigger audience, have a bigger conversation, have more people talk about the hobby that we love. Am I right, Chris?
Absolutely. And I know, look, I know it's been a crazy week, especially for folks here in the U.S. We know that politics, regardless of your beliefs or opinions, election time is already intense, and an election day turned into an election week. And all I wanted to say, guys, is it's so refreshing to put all that, on the back burner and come here and hang out with all you guys and talk about what we love and just be in this magical world, with each and every one of you. And this is what it's all about.
We're very appreciative of you all. Absolutely 100%. Again, Chris has the 3,000 subscription, the 3,000 sub contest going on. I'm going to put the link down below. I didn't do it beforehand, but we'll have that down below. Some great prizes on both channels. It's going to be awesome. He's very, very close. By the way, before we end this, I do want Swaggle House's answer. Good answers all around. My number one would be Silver Surfer. Yes, I love his obscure pick, though. I love his obscure pick. It's Darkhawk. That's amazing. Comic book canon for president? What? Okay. I'll take the reins on that. But again, really, we appreciate you guys so much. We appreciate you guys spending time with us. We will be back again next week as we are live every Friday. Spread the word. Have your friends join us because, again, we love talking comic books. We love talking with you guys. Chris, any final words here?
Be well to yourselves. Be good to each other. And just keep enjoying the hobby.
Absolutely. Couldn't say it any better than that. Everybody, thank you again for joining us. We will see you again next week. Stay safe and have a great week. We'll be back.